Hey guys, now that everything's settled down for the day, so one, I'll be going back to Thief, Game Boy games. I'll be starting SpongeBob, Battlefield Bikini Bottom, Arkham Knight, Modern Warfare 3, and the revisiting of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. I don't know about 6 or what's the other one? Ultimate Custom Night. Um, but I'm going to be all on my PC this time. That way it's a better quality and I can actually talk in them a lot better. Uh, but anyways, and then Bolt Fam, I'm getting some videos out there. That way there's there's a little bit different content over there. I mean, sadly, the content right now doesn't really differ too much because these are summary videos and I have all that stuff. Rewriting for actually the summary and rewriting of season 4 of Miraculous will be coming soon. I think I already said this last summary. But almost getting it's a very short summary, but it's going to be something I can throw away just to get it out of the way. But Friday Night Funkin', I will be already getting it out of the way, but the origin for Christmas, that way I've missed it. I was supposed to do that alongside the origin for Halloween and Thanksgiving, but I never got to it. This is going to be the Walking Dead final season. I haven't played it in a minute, so I don't know all the characters. I'll try to go over as many as I can. Even though I didn't get to finish it, I'll be going over part 2 of of JoJo Bizarre Adventure Battle Tendency, because it's not too hard. It's just as easy as part 1. Part 3, when I eventually get to that, my favorite one is going to take a minute because it's like 3 times the size of one of the other parts so far. Sonic X, DC's Arrowverse, and that's really it. So games coming. These summary videos are just so I can get stability for a little bit. But anyways, returning to Clem's adventure. So basically, the end of New Frontier. Basically, you had 2 choices during Dr. Lingard's Mercy. You can either do it yourself or make him do it himself. And if he had to do it himself, he basically said, "Go screw yourself. I'm not saying anything." If you did it for him, he'd tell Clem where AJ was, which was McCannell's ranch or something like that. So at the very end of the story, either Clem has to go looking for other outposts, or she knew where they were. And basically, no matter what, at the very end, there's one bad guy surviving that took half of the town's people and starts a war. And basically, that's what Clem is dealing with, trying to get to AJ. We don't get to see this until the very end of the final season. I think is like right when we're having our big spoiler, I will say, but very end when something travesty happens, we finally get to see what happened after season 3. But anyways, they go on their way. Through the years, she tells AJ basically Zombieland rules, where you don't do this, you gotta make sure you do this, buddy system, that, double tap, make sure that they're dead, go for the head, don't waste ammo. Basically the easy basics just to keep him alive, or if something ever happened to her, he'd have the rules on hand. Basically, they do find a railroad. This has a huge supply, but of course it was trapped. It had a grenade in it. This making zombies coming. They had to try to get out of there, but the car doesn't want to start. But they end up totaling the car. They get found by a close by community, which happens to be a school for a discipline school for the school of delinquents. Basically, all these kids at the very beginning were left by the adults. Be at the very beginning of it. Only a few kept around, but they died quickly off. The last one was the greenhouse keeper, I believe it was, the teacher for like the plant life. She stayed with, I know it was the nurse. It was the nurse, I'm pretty sure. She stayed with them until they went to the greenhouse and she got overtaken by zombies. But anyways, Marlon is the leader. His co-leader's kind of Brody. His best friend Lewis, basically he I know Lewis's backstory, which was his dad and mom were happy together. They were rich as hell. But uh, when he went to go do music lessons, his dad said, "You either be happy or you're rich. You can't be both." And he tries to do a lesson towards his father by basically doing a lot of charges, by doing hospitals, trinkets, and paying for him. He basically sets up a mistress for the father. This of course gets around to the mother, and basically they go all out, and they end up divorcing. And Lewis comes out and says, "Yeah, I kind of screwed up your marriage," and does. You can't be rich. You can be rich. You can be happy. You can't be both. And gets into the school. I know it was Willie. He kind of crushed his meat a little too much. It was chronic. Ruby, I think it was just her swearing. A sim and I keep forgetting the other guy. There's a lot of them I don't know. Violet. Actually, there's a lot of people I don't know their story of, because it's just I either didn't get them during it or they just didn't get covered. But that's really it. But yeah, they were terrible kids, and it's just thanks to the outbreak, they kind of became a little family of their own. But of course, tragedy struck when one of the kid's sisters, 10, his two sisters, Minnie, Minerva, and I don't remember the other one. They get basically sold off to this group that is in a war with one of the other coast, and basically to make sure that they don't ruin what they have, Brody and Marlon give them up, and basically I will jump to the horse and say basically Minnie ends up trying to escape with her sister, but thing is she kind of wants to protect her family and stuff, and also doesn't want to get hunted down anyway, so she ends up killing the sister. Which, the funny thing is, you don't truly know if because there's no body. No one else but Minnie saw it, so I believe she was able to tell her, don't show up to the school, don't come back for me, don't do this, go hide somewhere else. So I believe that there's a chance that Ten's other sister lived, but of course, knowing Minnie at the very end of the game, most likely killed her sister. But there's always that chance that she was still a sister at that time, and had a cover story. But basically covered her tracks, came back, became a soldier, and then Clem basically wakes up. Her and AJ try to make up their due. Basically, Marley makes a freaking circle so they don't leave. So they're safe, but yet also I believe it's the fact that they can run into the other groups. And they don't want them to have knowledge of the trade. And basically, Clem starts catching on. Eventually, they go to the basement, start talking about it. I believe they caught one of the people from the group basically they go to the train station to go get more food to make up for what they did, and one of them knew about it, and basically meeting that guy, you fight him, but of course you run into the only character that somehow has the relevance from season 1, Lily, who just adds on to how bad of a character and how much of a Karen she is. I don't care how she was raised, you don't act like this for a normal human being. I was trying to say this during the playthrough, but Larry and Lily's mentality, by military standards, if that is how military sets you up for, military sets you up to not be a human being, because that's bullcrap. I don't care how disciplined it is. I don't care how you gotta save money, gotta do this, gotta do that. I don't care. But treating your own human being with respect is how you should do it. Sure, if they're being completely disrespectful to you, then, get a little bit of a bite back. But never straight up be a freaking, sorry for my language, but asshole and a bitch. I'm sorry, I don't care. That's just stupid. But that's just how she was raised. I guess her whole lesson was basically her dad said it to where she was never a failure. She was basically Kagami from Miraculous, where she was held to a bar and she can't go lower. She can only go higher, and if she keeps hitting that bar, she isn't. She's just a living human being that isn't even known to exist until she does better for herself. And that's basically how her, from what that story was explaining to her dad about her dad. But basically, she's threatening Clem that she'll come and take the kids from the school, unless they fold in and make it a little bit easier for themselves because they need soldiers. But of course, basically, she comes back, finds out them. Brody gets killed by Marlon because they were learning about the fact that Clem came across it and may have found out. So Brody starts getting anxious about it. Marlon kills her. Clem has a fight, a zombie one, comes out, tells the group about it, and the group is kind of split because this is a new person, but yet she's the survivalist, and this is Marlon, the leader, but yet he's also not sounding the most confident at the time. And then after everything's said and done, Marlon does bring up the fact that it was him who kind of orchestrated the whole thing, and Brody was just going along with it because she knew the stakes of the situation. And as soon as he's about calm down and stuff, AJ kills him, which the next episode is the biggest thing. Is it a martyr? And I say yes, because Marlon at the time was just a confused boy that was already getting talked down, and he could have been not fully redeemed, but he could have been a character for later. I will probably be rewriting, like how I rewrited Miraculous. I'll be rewriting the Telltale series because I feel like certain characters could have learned more. I might be rewriting The Walking Dead. But anyways, for now, I'll just say basically it's just I feel like she could have taught AJ this. I mean, of course, they didn't really come across people else in that little war in the beginning of their little relationship building. But I feel like she would have prepared him for this because she knows how dangerous people are. But yet she also knows how some people can be good enough to be a part of a group. So I feel like she would have taught AJ not to shoot him in a moment of weakness and unarmed. And I personally would have, even in the apocalypse, that is a murder. And yes, it is kind of an atonement that AJ should have went on, because it would have been a good part of his character knowing that you shouldn't do this unless people are in a very forceful or dangerous state. They shouldn't be just killed right off the bat unless something like Lily is happening. Even though Lily was not armed, she was up and down for hours and days that she would take and force these kids to fight a war that isn't even theirs to fight. So in that moment, you knew that she was going to come back eventually and kill someone. So I feel like killing Lily was the biggest thing. But of course, I didn't do that because I didn't want to deal with the James. James's character after killing Lily is very frustrating to me. Like, sure, you can talk him into being a more chiller character, but I'd rather just have killed him. Originally, I would have kept James alive, but I didn't want to deal with the frustration in the cave. Let's see here. Trying to think. But after that, eventually all the people vote and they get kicked out. Only, I think, 2 or 3 people asked for them to stay. I think it was Violet, 10, and I don't remember the third. I think it was revealed eventually who the third was. I think it was a Sim or someone. But anyways, they get both AJ and Clem get kicked out, and like almost right off the friggin' bat, Lily and her team finds her, and basically AJ gets shot in the stomach. They meet James, a former Whisperer, which I'll go ahead and just cover it. He had a boyfriend, but his boyfriend was looking at, I believe they were talking about Alexandria. Like, of course, this is comic, so Rick, Michonne, and all of them, he met them, and this is after that point in time, so they're probably dealing with the Commonwealth right now. But James came from the Whisperers. He killed his boyfriend because he was looking at a normal life again. And eventually that kind of put him that I just killed my lover because he wasn't going along with the life. But of course, he sees how it affects other people and he just leaves. And of course, he's able to use his Whisperer's tricks to help them. He helps deal with the wound that AJ has, is able to get them back to the school. They're able to patch him up thanks to Ruby. And Clem helps them prepare for the attack. And they don't care if Clem doesn't care if they're going to kick her out after that. But at the moment, she wants to protect who she can. So they go around, they make bombs, they make traps, they set up the barriers and other things, just so they can do it. And they also set up basically like a scare tactic. That way, whenever they come up, they can have a chance to leave. I believe they used Abel. I think that's the guy who they met at the train station. Smoker. He gets his arm cut off when he gets bitten, and he has like a blind. He's basically has a discolored eye, and he's kind of the same thing as Dr. Lingard. He doesn't want to get turned into a walker, so it's put him out of his misery when he's not going to make it. And of course, putting him out of his misery, promising it, he'll give you the information needed. And basically teaching AJ in that situation was I need to get the information I want. So sometimes I need to cut corners and help someone that I don't really like. And no matter who it is, um, no one deserves to become a walker. James is about that, like, season 2 Herschel vibe, where he believes that humans are stuck within the body. Actually, I believe this is a not Omid. I'm trying to remember his name. Sadiq from season 8 of The Walking Dead. He believes every time you kill a walker, you free the soul of the walker. And James believes that even though they're fully wanting food, there is some memory to them, so there is some kind of human still in there. And it's beautiful to see to him that they can react to stuff and they can still find joy and relaxation in the sound of a wind chime. But basically, that's the whole thing, is they make it to where they can hold up against them. They march it. They take a sim. Not Omid, but the other character, I believe. Oh crap! I think it's the one who was cooking. They take either Lewis or Violet, depending on who you save. Normally, people would save the one that they started dating or took time in their day to go and see them before the battle. And then I knew they took one more. Oh, they didn't actually. They didn't take another one. Huh. But basically after that, they go to James, say, hey, I need your help to go and take down this. I need some walkers for cover. They're able to go into the boat, place the bomb, get the friends. But sadly, of course, many of the soldiers die. The whole Lily situation happens. Lewis and all of them have a chance to have their first human kills during this situation. The worst things about this is either Violet is left on the boat and she gets shrapnel to the eyes, so she goes blind in one, I believe. And then that's if you don't choose her. And if you choose her, they cut out Lewis's tongue, and it's just screwed, my dude. Basically, a lot of them walk away with injuries. Most of the group, Elston, Lewis or Violet, depending on who you choose, whoever got captured is taken back to get healed, looked at. AJ and 10. They end up finding Minnie, who is bitten. She basically tracks them all the way to a freaking bridge. At this point, they're like trying to figure out what to do to avoid all the walkers coming back to the school. They find out that the bridge is broken, so they're about to take their time to jump over. But of course, Minnie comes in with a whole herd behind her. At this point, you either have to have AJ trusted in the cave to kill 10 when his sister decides to try to lure him in, and family bonds, he doesn't want to leave her, so either you have him get killed or you have the person you care about throw him over, and because them taking that time to throw him over, it kills him. So either AJ loses a friend or you lose a friend slash boyfriend slash girlfriend. After that, you return. Basically, well, actually, no, you don't return. 10 or whomever survived, they go on their own way. They get divided. AJ and Clem try to climb a rock area, but sadly, during the fight with Minnie, she cut Clem's boot to where her ankles kind of screwed up. So when she's climbing it, it's not the greatest. But of course, after that, she's bitten on that weak side. So her time is ticking. She's getting sick. She's getting the fever as the morning comes. And then they eventually get back to James's barn. They try to hold up there. She's putting AJ to the test, kind of like Lee does in the end of season 1, saying, do this, do that. Once you know how to do this by yourself, you can do it by yourself without me. But of course, unlike Lee, she does survive an amputation of her foot. And of course, this brings her back somehow. Just AJ like having a lean on her, pick her up, and all that. The blood is the only thing I don't understand. How without the zombies smelling her, we're able to get them back to the school without either complete blood loss. But of course, everyone is okay in the end. Big family. Of course, they're missing the people that died during the battles. In the very end, Clem sends whomever she trusts. This also depends on who survived. And AJ to go and figure out this group that they spotted, which I believe might have been the Alexandrians / the Commonwealth. And this would connect them into the bigger world. And of course, everyone's talking about it. I don't call it my personal canon, but we are talking soon about the Clementine series, which is basically her saying, I don't belong here, even though, my whole story arc was to find a home and family because my mentor believed that was best for me. But now that I've passed on his information to another boy, I'm just gonna go on my merry way and say screw it. Even though she's got one leg missing and all this and that, she's just gonna go by herself. And then apparently, I'm hearing it, but I don't see it. Apparently she was a savior. Negan's savior. I don't like this because you're putting her in so many bad positions. Telltales, what are you doing? But anyways, we'll be rewriting The Walking Dead Telltales. I'll think about the original Walking Deads, the TV series, not the comics. The comics is probably the closest thing to a zombie story. Like, of course, there are a few screws ups, personally for me, but I love it a lot better than the show. Just because they can do whatever they want in the comics versus a freaking TV show that's public. But that's really it. Basically, a mother / bigger sister figure finding a place for her little brother / son, and then thanks to the comic series, just ups and leaves them. And not to mention, if you do have a surviving relationship, she leaves them. But anyways, that's it for this video. I got a few other summaries to go over. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.